Hello, greetings, and welcome. Off center. That's where off center. All right. Greetings, welcome to the case files. So, I wasn't here last week. I was out of town, but I wanted to make sure I definitely got in this week's case files. And looking for a topic isn't always simple, but I certainly try. I've been not only doing things about role-playing games themselves, but also about the culture, the subculture of role-playing gamers and that kind of thing, because I find that just incredibly interesting. Um, so we've kind of talked about the general type of cultural stuff that's kind of, and one of the things I just wanted to cover was the friendly local gaming store, FLGS. So that's basically your cool gaming store nearby that holds all the role-playing game goodness. It's a brick and mortar type of place. It's in the real world. Back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s and 80s and 90s, and I suppose technically gaming was in the late 70s, but yeah, we'll call it 80s and 90s. So you had your friendly local gaming store, your FLGS, and you still do. They originally, I mean, that's not only where you bought the things, but if the gaming store did cater to like board gamers and role players, there were always there was always some part of the store that had tables, where you could just hang out, do your thing, use their products, and you're right there if you needed to buy more of those products, because let's face it, gamers need their dice. I was about to say, yeah, dice is the role-playing gamers addiction, but let's face it, role-playing games, dice, for some miniatures, blah blah blah. Yeah, these are all our addictions. But better this than heroin, I say. Hope you're with me on that one. So, and generally cheaper, I think. I really don't know how much heroin costs, but I think even a normal price game is probably cheaper than a dime bag or whatever the kids are calling it these days. But yeah, so the friendly local gaming store, it was. I keep saying was, but and I'll kind of explain that thought process. But it was and is really kind of like a social hub for us role playing gamers. Before, again, I kind of wanted to get into the 80s and 90s, pre true internet. Where things like Amazon and whatnot became so much more available and reliable and easy for your general, normal person to employ. So if you wanted to get your games, you went to your gaming store. If you were having a really bad week, you or your gaming store, either didn't or wouldn't stock. I mean, I've actually been to gaming stores like they would not stock. I will not stock this game, and that's fine. That's your thing. Cool, whatever. But you wanted a game. You went into the gaming store, probably salivating if it was a really cool game you're waiting for, or something you needed for your next session or something like that. And you popped in there. You went to your favorite shelves. As gamers, I think, you get to know, what I'm looking for is the second bookshelf from the left, and, 3 rows down. Oh, yep, there it is. That kind of thing. So I mean, you went in there. If it wasn't on those shelves, you went up to the front, and your friendly local gaming store clerk would happily order it for you, generally speaking. But then you have to wait. You'd wait like 14 days for it to get there, depending on how they did their shipments, how they worked with suppliers, publishers. I don't even quite honestly know how that all works. But yeah, whatever, however retail stores have to do it. And that was your thing. You waited. On occasion, you would go into the local Walden Books or B. Dalton. Those are bookstores that I don't think are around anymore. But they were like the bookstores of the time. And then Barnes & Noble came later. It is now gone. At least from where I live, they just tore down the last Barnes & Noble. But anyway, if you couldn't find it at your gaming store, sometimes you got lucky and went to the local bookstore, popped in there, and went to their I think it was like in games and hobbies section. And if you're really lucky, they had a role playing game part of it, and I think most of them did after a while. Um, and you hopefully maybe get it there. If not, talk to the clerk and they'll order you one, however long that takes. So yeah, my kind of point is that you before all this availability, you had to kind of make do with what you had. You had to use your either gaming store or bookstore as your hub for finding these things and finding other people who liked it. If you didn't happen to have friends that gamed, or to find new people. There were no, again, we're talking 80s, early 90s. There were no, 90, I suppose there were bulletin boards around, but not everybody used them. That kind of thing, online bulletin boards. That's another case files. But yeah, it was a great way to find new people. If your friends didn't, game, you couldn't get them to. Gosh knows you tried real hard. If there wasn't some kind of club at school where you could get that kind of action, find out who's gaming. You just go in there and you kind of hang out and see who ends up hanging out in the same section. And if you're really lucky, you'll find someone looking for a game or wanted to run one. Game masters, of course, being, premium friend material. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I mean, and again, these I think gaming stores, as they went more into being for role playing and board gaming, they kind of went away from. I mean, when I was a kid, in fact, my first friend at the local gaming store, and I brought this up in another case files, was this. It was a large place. It was like half a warehouse size. I mean, this was a huge warehouse ceilings. I think the place was a warehouse at one time, and they just kind of remodeled it. So it was huge. It was dedicated to models, putting together models, model airplanes, model railroads. In fact, the entire center of the place was this huge, like 30 by 30 foot railroad setup. It was so cool. I wasn't into railroad sets and stuff, and I've still found that amazingly interesting. It was so artistically amazing, and it was so cool. But then they had these like one bookshelf with role playing game stuff on it, and I think that was how, back in the day, again, because I'm old, you can see the white hair that I have to kind of turn down the lights for, so it doesn't completely look like I've got nothing going on here. But yeah, so when they finally found that, not necessarily they finally found, but when role playing games started to become more profitable, suddenly this, I'm pretty sure the one I'm talking about is actually still completely model railroads and models, and they haven't burst over. But I want to think a good number of hobby shops, once they found that people were buying these books for like, even way back when, $20 a pop plus, then suddenly the department started to expand. Started to get bigger, and they started putting down those tables where that not only gamers could, where gamers could play at and be there to get more stuff, So yeah, and the thing is, I might be getting ahead of my narrative here, but so as time progressed, and suddenly, we've gotten into a point where, especially today, it's way in your face. The fact that if you want, so if you want a game, you can order it from Amazon. So I really should look up when Amazon came online, or when they started really, becoming, I think they started as just the book place and became everything else. But be that as it may. So suddenly you could get this stuff online, and after not too long, it was cheaper than on the shelves, right? Because these Amazon and these, national, international retailers could, buy in bulk, where your local gaming store, if they're going to get a Dungeon Master's Guide, it's going to be like 5, 10 of them at a crack, you know. Otherwise, it's just, you know, taking up a floor space that could be used for something else. So suddenly, you know, you find people migrating away from there. And this isn't to say, you know, that people didn't play, you know, their basements. I know I still do. Look behind me. This is literally this is part of my brand, my basement, and that's, you know, a gaming table back there. But you know, we're at home, you're wherever, at the park. Can't go to the park. It was right in nature. But you people started kind of finding other ways to get their books. Suddenly, they don't have to go to the shelves at the local gaming store. And then came PDFs. Amazing. As an aside, I love the heck out of PDFs. Right? It's PDFs are amazing because I am in my all my years collecting, again from the early '80s till today. So what, a almost 40-year span of me collecting games. I weep at how many games I've lost or been destroyed or whatever through the years, and that when I look on eBay for these suckers, and we're looking at, you know, $100, 200 more to get some of this stuff. And I had the original Monster Manual with the Elric stuff in it, and it's just worth a whole lot today. And cry inside, but I had that one. Beautiful. But yeah, so I love PDFs because as long as you can keep that electronic file somewhere safe, you're never going to lose it. It's never going to be lost to you. It's always going to be available to you. And with storage space online becoming even as much as cheap as it is, or there's a whole bunch of free ways to get online storage, you know, you don't even have to worry about your computer catching on fire or whatever, because you store them in the cloud and connect to them when you need them, and they're there. And so the world of PDFs was wonderful. And the thing about that is, you know, and you do have the purists who need to smell that, you know, new book smell, and have never bought a PDF. And I totally get those people, because I'm of both worlds. I love the smell of the book. I love the feel of the pages. I love being able to put my own little paper bookmarks in there and turn to that page and just, you know, lay back and enjoy that art and all these wonderful games. So I'm of both worlds. I love the book. I love that hardbound. I love the PDF. Again, for different reasons. Again, I love PDFs, but it's and it's easy to work with when I'm playing online and stuff like that. So it brings up a conundrum. It's like, so PDFs and now PDFs are easy to get. You go to Drive-Thru-RPG, which I have an affiliate link probably below in this video if you're watching it on YouTube. And I love Drive-Thru-RPG. I bought a lot of stuff from them. And that's great. That's great. You know, it's instant availability. I don't even have to go to a store and go to the shelves or ask the clerk or get anything ordered, or even go to Amazon. It's right there. I can get that PDF instantly. Did I do that? Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's so cool. So yeah. So where does that leave your friendly local gaming store? It leaves them in a place where they have to find ways to make money. And it's put them in a bad place. Let's face it. You know, and again, you can literally go to your gaming store. You're going to find a price for that book you're looking for. Go to Amazon, and you can probably find it at least for a few bucks less, generally speaking. You know, or people can get the PDFs again that don't involve the front of the local gaming store, and so they're losing all this money when they used to be the mecca, the place you went to for you know, your games, access to games, and access to other players, and that again, access to other players, that brings up all the online stuff. And you know, if you watched any of my videos, you know I use Roll20, completely virtual. I don't have anything in no YouTube video of mine or actual gameplay involves real life people with me. It's all online. So I don't need those gaming tables if I did want them. The fact of the matter is I do. I like, I would love to roll some bones, if you know what I mean. Roll bones. It was a Rush song. It's also, bones or dice. I don't want to explain. I already did. But I would love to roll some bones with like real people around a table. But that is so hard. I'm now an adult. I've been an adult for a few years at least. And my friends are adults. So, and we all have schedules, we have jobs, we have many of us have families or other obligations or other gaming groups even. So trying to schedule a night or something when we and my friends live a good car drive away, over an hour and a half. So again, when is that going to happen? Okay, we do it online, and we have this cool Roll20 thing, this desk, the tabletop interface. That's wonderful, and it gives us everything we need. As much as we would love to play, together, physically. Yeah. so, so where does that leave your friendly local gaming store? It means that if they want to survive, they've got to look for profit. And them looking for profit pisses me as a role-playing gamer off, because it's to my detriment now. So, to give you an example, I was looking to run a game in one of my couple local gaming stores, and I popped in, and the guy, I think it was the owner, was like literally right there. I recognized him. He was having a conversation with somebody. So I kind of looked at the role-playing game section, which is, really good size, So it's like, oh yeah, the owner likes role-playing games. It matters, So went up to him, I'm like, hey, I'm looking to run some sessions. I know you close, gaming stores during the week. They close like at 9. I have a job. I got to get home. I got to get some food in me, etc. So maybe, I can't, maybe during the week isn't good. Hey, how about like a Sunday 11 o'clock game type of thing? Could I get a table for that, regularly if I was to get players? And dude pretty much laughed in my face. Me, I'm a customer, and I'm like, hey, I want to play this or that. At the time, I can't remember what game it was. Probably a Powered by the Apocalypse one. I was trying to, get kind of my head wrapped around like urban shadows and masks and stuff. And he laughed in my face. He's like, no, there is no way in hell that's going to happen. You can do like I think I can fit you in like on a Monday or something like that. But yeah, the Saturdays and Sundays are like Magic and other tournaments. Then there's miniatures wargaming on this night, and so it's like, yeah, unless I could do like 5 to 7 on like a Monday or a Wednesday, I was never going to get an organized table there. And the reason was because he needed, as owner, he needed to make some freaking money. And the fact of the matter is, I would, I might have bought a game there. Odds are I already had it, as far as you can see, and you didn't have to suppose. But the bottom line is, as a role-playing gamer, once I get what I need, my books, my dice, I don't need to buy a whole lot from a role-playing game shop, on a regular basis. Every now and then I'm gonna, spend some money. I'm not gonna tell my wife about on like dice. Okay, let's be real. So yeah, but that's like what, $5, $10 max. That's just one dude, and that's a table. That's a table like of 4 to 5 people for that guy, right? Whereas these, Magic and collectible card game tournaments, when a person walks in, wants to participate in that tournament, they have to pay like $10 or whatever just to sit down at a table and compete. And then, if that's not included in that, then they have to buy the special deck or special cards they're going to use for that. So that's another, $10 to $15 more, and we're talking a whole decent sized game shop of tables filled to the brim. No, standing room only. with these people. So let's say that's just for kicks. Let's round it to $20 a person. Let's say there's 40 people. Probably low, but so what? 40 times 20, 800. So dude's gonna make $800, without fail that night. And plus, and again, they always have snacks and stuff. So with incredible markups as it should be. So yeah, during that night, they're going to be getting more money on the other stuff, and then you have the people who, oh yeah, you can buy booster packs for this competition. So next thing you know, now you got the dudes are, walking over and dropping $100 on like a, pack carton or whatever of cards just to get that card that they want. And that's not, I've seen that happen so many times. And these people just drop it like it's nothing. And it's like, I hurt when I have to spend a whole, more than $50 on a book. And I've done it, and the games are generally worth it. But just, I've seen these people as nonchalantly, and I am not a collectible card game player. So I have played, I used to have a werewolf deck, and I also had a Highlander deck back in the day. And if you don't know what that refers to, please Google it. You need to see. If not, don't. Okay, here. Highlander movie, the first movie. See that. Okay. I don't know what level of geeks are going to be watching this. See just the first Highlander movie. And I know you're like, oh my God, but there's 2, 3, and whatever, I think. Don't watch them. Please. For me. For Scott. Scott, that's me. Please don't watch any other Highlander movie except the first one. There was 2, 3, and then Endgame. I feel like I'm bleeding out of my eyes just thinking about it. But I know we're getting off course here. But anyway, and watch the series. The Highlander series is pretty freaking cool. Highly recommend that. Anyway, getting back on course. So yeah, I'm not a collectible card gamer myself. I know my monetary limits on what I can spend, and collectible card games and miniatures gaming, those are just more than I want to spend money on. That's a lot of money, right? For especially when you get in the tank games or the Warhammer 20K type stuff. That's a lot of money. And generally you need to paint them. And that's a lot of time and skill, neither of which I have for that type of thing. So, yeah. So the bottom line is, the owner of these stores have to make money to stay afloat. And that means that, whereas they might stock a bunch of role-playing games, and that's cool, and generally the place I go to, they stock it right along the walls, so they're not giving up too much, real estate. Not to say that they don't stock a lot, and a lot of role-playing games, but they have to. They realize, okay, so that brings in these people, and here's an interesting one, and maybe somebody watching or whatever, if you happen to watch this on YouTube, please comment. So, okay, at the store I was talking about, it's like, okay, so your role player, yeah, I can't give you that table, but on Thursdays is Pathfinder night, and if you're willing to GM, I will pay you in store credit to GM them. So I'm not sure where that angle was coming from. I mean, Pathfinder, I suppose, has a lot of books. There's always another Pathfinder book to buy. Maybe that's it. But it was specifically Pathfinder. No other games. Pathfinder. So I don't know what the hell that was about. Again, my best guess is that there's a lot of Pathfinder books, so they actually do make money regularly. Without even looking, I'd have to say there's 50 different Pathfinder books. $20 a piece, 15, whatever, adds up. So anyway, so that's weird aside, but so apparently Pathfinder makes some money too, but it's mostly these collectible card games and the big miniature games that these. And it's pretty standard that these, at least that I've seen, that these friendly local gaming stores cater to these days, and they've got to if they want to stay in business, right? And that's sad for me as a role-playing gamer because I've dedicated a lot of my life to playing role-playing games. It's my best hobby. I think it's what I'm best at in life, sadly. Take it or leave it. And, you know, it's part of my own heritage. I don't know, the thing I grew up with, you know? And to see a disc like that upsets me. But on the side of the retailer or on the side of that game store owner, I get it. I mean, what are they going to do? If you cater to people who are literally going to walk in there, you know, some places have like, oh, you know, you have to pay $5 for the table that you're going to use, whatever. And plus, you know, let's say table and like everyone gets a soda. That's another, let's call it $6. You know, so off of like 5 people being in his store for hours, a dude made $6. $11. Yeah, $11. So, or that you can make $11, or you can make whatever, you know, $300 a table, or you know that kind of thing. And then you know, profit and prosper as I go. So yeah. So where does that leave them? Either they do change, you know, these gaming stores do change that model into a great percentage, or they stay as they are and they slowly go out of business. You know, can you imagine, like, you know, someone walking, you're a game store owner, and someone takes a picture of a game or something like that, and walks by, and you're like, hey, what you doing? Like, oh, I wanted to go and, you know, I don't want to forget it, but I want to order this from Amazon. Like you would feel like a dagger right there in your sternum there. So again, they need to change with the times to survive. And this isn't to say that they don't have gaming tables and role-playing games at their places, because they do. It's just that the more and more I'm finding the greatest deal of their effort in getting people in and accommodating people is for the collectible card games and the miniatures game, the miniatures war games, that kind of thing. So again, I get it. I don't like it. So there is something cool that I found. It's called Bits and Mortar, and this may come off as one big long like commercial for Bits and Mortar, and I hope so, because it's awesome. It kind of solves several problems. So let's see here. Yeah, Bits and Mortar. So what that is basically your friendly local gaming store can sign up with Bits and Mortar, and then if let's say I use Cubicle 7 as an example, because my very first game from Bits and Mortar was through them. So what happens is, you have on one side, you have publishers who are like, you know what, we want to help our friendly local gaming stores survive and thrive. So what we're going to do is, if someone buys our physical book at your brick and mortar store, we're going to give that person the PDF version of whatever they're buying for free. Okay. Now, what's the catch? Well, this is literally the place where there is no catch. This is not a scam. There's no catch. So on the retailer side, all they have to do is sign up for it. It takes literal minutes. And it costs nothing. So this is where the catch would be, if there was a catch. Like, oh, the retailer has to pay, like, you know, a subscription fee or something to keep this, you know, available to them. But it's no, it's completely altruistic for exactly what I've been describing. So what happens is, like, let's say, for example, I was traveling at the time on business, and I found myself in Washington, D.C., and there was a gaming store there. Cannot remember what the name of it is, or I would absolutely bring it up here. Not that me saying it would like make people go there, but anyway, so like I called them ahead of time. I'm like, hey, I would really like to get these 2 Doctor Who role-playing game books. And I understand you're in the Bits and Mortar system, right? Because that's where I found them. That's why I specifically called them. And they're like, oh yeah, totally. We'll put these aside for you, Scott, and we look forward to seeing you. And I got there, and I popped in, and I'm like, hey, I'm Scott. I ordered these books. I'm like, oh yeah, here you are. And I forget what was, so there's two ways I've gotten like the codes. They give you a code, either A on the actual receipt as they ring you up, or B, or actually C, there's three. B, they'll give you like just like a little slip of paper with the code on it, or C, they basically have the code I think it's just the code, and then you use the code to get the game, or they give you the PDF. I can't quite remember, but they'll do one of those things. One of those things will work for you, and whatever book you bought, you get the PDF for free, and it's so cool. It's a win-win. And again, when I got back here, I was on I was doing a search on Bits and Mortar for who I want to see if my own FLGSs were on the system. They weren't, so I called my favorite, and I'm like, hey, or actually no, I didn't call him. I'm getting ahead of myself. I went onto the Facebook page. And I'm like, their Facebook page. And I'm like, hey, are you guys aren't on the Bits and Mortar system? That'd be so cool if you were, because you basically, people go to your place, when they buy books from participating publishers, the person gets a PDF. It's totally free. It costs you nothing. Yeah. And literally, I want to say 5 minutes later, man, the owner is like, yep, okay, we're signed up. Thank you so much. And now every time I go to that store, I get my PDFs for free when I buy the stuff. And the other cool thing is, if the gaming store in question is a member, they're listed in the Find a Store locator that Bits and Mortar gives access to. So suddenly that's an extra advertising. That's driving, buyers to them, including me. Again, I went to that place in DC specifically. I'd heard nothing else about them. I knew nothing else about them because of course I've been there, but that they were on the Bits and Mortar system. And out of nowhere, suddenly they had two new book sales from a dude who was from out of town. Who does that? Me. Oh, me. So very cool. So let's take a quick look. I just kind of wanted to, take you through this. So a lot of publishers are on board with this, and I want you to recognize the fact that the publishers here, they're taking a financial loss by doing this. They're giving away PDFs they're giving away a product for free. Now, maybe there's of course the altruistic part of the show, and maybe they kind of make up for it, like if they get more revenue from a book purchase than a PDF anyway, so they're actually not losing as much as you think, or they're making just a little. I don't know how that works, but the fact of the matter is that this is cool. These publishers are all cool, and I get games from a bunch of them. Let's just take a look down the list. Cubicle 7, like I said. Let's see here. Evil Hat. Oh my god, I buy a bunch of stuff from Evil Hat. Very cool stuff. Let's see here. Chaosium. Oh my goodness, Chaosium. Let's see here. Who else we got? Yeah, Black and Green Games. Let's see, where else? I buy a lot of Hero Games. Java Presents, Modifius, big publisher these days, and they're in this program. That is so cool. Again, it's a win-win. You get the physical copy that's new book smell. You get to flip through it and feel it in your pretty little fingers, and have your way with it, and do all the things you enjoy about those hardcovers, and for free you get the PDF. So it's almost as if you bought the PDF, paid a few bucks more, and you got the hardcover, really. Or hardcover, or softcover, where the hell, you know what I'm talking about. So, Modifius is on this. This is awesome, Yes, Renegade Games, who actually does the Kids on Brooms that I'm running right now. So this is not a short list. A lot of indie publishers, because I think, and again, one of the cool things about indies is that they get it. They get that these retail stores need to make their money, and it's hard because they themselves are indie. They're trying to make money too. and kind of throwing their support behind gaming stores, to support their support for role players like us. That's really cool, you know? Yeah, so basically it takes almost no time for a retailer to join. Publishers is probably a little more complex process because they have to somehow link up like a system where they give, the PDFs for free. And as customers, we get to support our friendly local gaming store and get, free stuff. Or if not, not free stuff. You're technically buying the book, but you're all in all, you're getting an awesome deal. So it's a easy way to support your local brick and mortar, company or gaming store and get what you want and get some value. And look at this map. Look at all those. Where the hell is this gaming store? Oh, Hawaii. I bet it's in Hawaii. Frontier Adventure. Interesting. That has to be Hawaii. Now, what the hell? Oh, New Zealand. This is New Zealand. What is this, like Singapore? Singapore? I don't know. Yeah, a lot of stuff through Europe. South America? Where are we at here? Warpig Games. The heck? Where is that? Warpig. Chile. In Chile. Nice. So, sorry, my wife is upstairs watching the Packers game, and I'm cheering very loudly. But yeah, look at all these. Look at all this. All these places that are participating. And again, these are gaming stores who, if you look at any of these stores. In fact, you know what? Let's see if let's find that one in DC. I just gotta know. Okay. Where are we? Oop. To north. Come on now. Here. Oh, is it this one? I think this might be it. Yeah. Zoom in. Just for kicks. Since we're here, let's have some fun. Yep, this is it. This is it, because there's this Eastern Market. This is a metro. That's where I basically to get here, because I was actually in literally 4 blocks away from the capital. I had to figure out how to use the subway system to get there, because of course I was in town, on business, didn't have a car. And so yeah, I had to get off at this market and then figure out where this street was, and then it's down another little street type of thing. But yeah, so let's have a shout out for this store. Yeah, Labyrinth Games and Puzzles. Thank you. So yeah, and again, it's just so easy to become part of this. It's so easy to support this. Again, my hats off to the publishers who also support this, because again, it's advertisement for them, truly, and it's also showing some love for the hobby, and for the stores that do participate. It shows that we give a crap about getting you role-playing gamer freakos a little of what you need for a good value. It's again win. So look, go to Bits Mortar, look your stuff up. You're gonna like it. Let's see here. 122 publishers. Look at that. That's amazing. So let's see. Yeah, so let's just read this. Yeah, Bits Mortar is fantastic. This is from Chris Hanrahan and Endgame, I'm assuming, is the game store, Oakland, California. The Bits Mortar is fantastic. Working hand in hand with our publishing partners, we are better able than ever to actually share a customer base rather than compete for it. Wow, look at that. You're not you're not competing. You're sharing, like symbiotically sharing. Yeah, so rather than compete for it. Wow, that statement is gold right there. So I have had people specifically bring books up to the counter because they knew they would have a PDF waiting for in their inbox when they got home. I don't know why any store wouldn't want to take part in the program, and I completely agree. Unless you carry literally none of these 122 publishers' games, you're hurting your business as a retailer. Get it out there. Just do it. So again, way impressive. This is an awesome system. Also, and again, there's no fees. Let's look at the about. It's like they of course will take donations to help pay for the website and like the infrastructure. But I'm sure this again you have to have a website. It costs a little money. They kind of have this database, whatever, of the publishers, games, codes, etc. That costs a little something. So you know, donations are appreciated. So let's see here. Oh, this is also interesting. I did not know this. So when a Bits Mortar publisher has a product up for pre-orders online that includes a free PDF for those who pre-order, we work with retail stores to provide that same offer in stores. So customers don't have to choose between getting access to something early online or supporting their local stuff. So again, there's a pre-order that says, hey, if you pre-order with us, we'll give you the PDF for free. And you get, and not only that, but you get the PDF early. Like you'll get the PDF the day it releases rather than, or the day like the books ship to the retailer rather than when they finally get to the retailer again on the shelves. So yeah, customers who don't have to choose between getting access to something early online or supporting their favorite store, they get both in one place. And that's so cool. So yeah, totally cool. So yeah, really, Bits and Mortar is the culmination of my talk show tonight. Chat is not active tonight, and that's okay. But chat, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me any comments. I'd love to talk about your comments, etc., etc. But otherwise, I don't have any more stuff to talk about. But this is really a topic that I cared about, and really a topic I wanted to talk about on the case files, because it is just so. Again, this role playing has been my hobby since I was a kid. I met so many cool people through it. Some of which are my not only friends to this day, but some of my best friends. And it helped me exercise my imagination. This hobby. I think I'm a better person because of it, and a smarter and more versatile person these days because I had to exercise my imagination. I had to think in ways, I won't say I think that outside the box crap, but I had to think in ways that to problem solve. I mean, there's all these jokes about putting role playing stuff on your resume. As a game master, I organized and managed a group of 5 people under me. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. But the fact of the matter is, these role playing games are all about problem solving. They not only do role playing games teach you how to problem solve, but they're social tools. The role playing games are being used as therapy for people who don't get like social cues or have difficulty with social interaction. The hobby is wonderful. Can everyone say that their hobby does so many good things for the world? No. So that's really all I have on this. But it was so important. I wanted to bring this out here. I wanted to do at least one case files about it. And, I hope viewers, I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching us on YouTube, I'll put the Bits and Mortar link in the description. And otherwise, just Google Bits and Mortar. And I hope you enjoyed it because, again, this is really important. We need to support the institutions that keep our hobby fresh and alive. So that means the publishers, the retailers, the writers, the indie developers, the indie writers. They're indies are putting out so much great stuff these days, and that wasn't always the case. Let's face it. When you saw an indie game, it was badly put together, and et cetera, et cetera. Today, there is, especially with the advent of PDFs, et cetera, there is so much to be done with it, and indie publishers, indie game developers are so awesome, and they put out so much of the good content these days. So we need to support all that. And your friendly local gaming store is an important part of that equation, and we don't want to lose them. I'd hate for there to come a day when there just aren't any friendly local gaming stores anymore. Yeah, or there are, but they just do collectible card games. What else? So, anyway, I appreciate anybody that checked this out. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the description below. Check out Bits Mortar. Check out my stuff. I do but a bit of streaming otherwise, etc., etc. So I'm Scott of Scott's Case Files, and I hope you enjoyed today's Case Files role-playing game talk show. Bye for now.